Hello guys and welcome back. In this lecture, we're going to be learning about the repeat effect in Adobe Illustrator, okay, the repeat option here. And also we're going to be learning about patterns. So we're going to be making some patterns, some interesting patterns all here in Adobe Illustrator. So starting off, I'm going to start with a rectangle, or rather it's a square shape. Just centralize the shape and then give it a color. Okay, I'm going to come to my color and let's choose let's choose this color. Okay, and then go to the color guide tool and I'll just choose maybe this preset and just give it a nice shade. Okay, just play around with it. There's no specific rule. Okay, so specific rule, just play around to get the colors you want. So with this, I am just going to come on effect and select the plucker and blot effect and just edit it like this. And here I like this shape. I'm going to click OK, maybe resize it a bit, maybe boost up the stroke. Okay, maybe give it another color, more interesting color. Yeah, I think I'll go with this one. So let me just copy our shape and bring it here. Now we're going to start off with the repeat effect. Okay. Yeah, we're going to start off with the repeat effect. So to activate this effect, you have to select your shape, come to object, then repeat, and then let's say radial. And immediately you see what it does. It gives us the ability, or it repeats our shape in a radial manner, right? And then it gives us this point here. Now at this point, when you drag it up, you see that the radius expands, okay, or the diameter expands, the circle expands and reduces when you bring it in. And you can see that when we bring it in, we are now having very interesting shape, okay? Or we can drag it out, bring it in. We can adjust the amount with this other icon here, okay, like this. And if we drag it like this, we are actually reducing the size of our shape, right? We're reducing the size of our shape. Perfect. When we come here, we'll see that we can increase the sizes or the amounts rather here also. So I'm just going to come to objects, repeat, and then release so we can have our shape back. And when I come to repeat and choose the grid, we can see that it repeats it in a grid format. It repeats it in a grid format. And yeah, so this is what we have and repeated in a grid format, right? And these ones will add to the number like this. So it can keep going infinitely, okay? Or reduce to the number like this. Okay. Perfect. So with this now, we now have a very simple pattern. Okay, very simple pattern. We can increase the size like this or do whatever we want. Okay. So I'm going to go and just release my shape. Drag it to the middle once more. And when I select the options, we can see that we now have options, right? And then we have the radial, we have the grid, we have the mirror. Okay, so this one mirrors our shape through the selected angle. Okay, and we can adjust our settings here and do whatever. And maybe we have the flip rows, flip columns, we have the grid type. Okay, and we can now click OK. And when we now come and choose the grid format or the grid option, it actually creates it with our new settings. Creates it with our new settings. And these are our new settings. These are the new settings we just updated. So all these are created based on the new settings we just updated. So that's how it works. Okay, and you can create simple patterns with this. We can even use it to furthermore enhance our process of creating patterns. And I'll just show you an example in a minute. So I'm going to release it once more and centralize. Okay. And then come and select our guy and give it the radial repeat. So maybe have it like this, or like this. Maybe reduce the size like this. Okay. And maybe let's even reduce the quantity. Let's make it 5. Let's give it 5, quantity of 5. Make it look like this generally. Yeah. So the trick here is we're going to come and maybe expand it so as to make them separate shapes, right? You know, they are linked together with the repeat option here. But when we expand, we actually separate them. And then when we right click, we can actually ungroup them and work with them individually like this. So with this, we can now come and just basically adjust our colors. Okay, you can adjust our colors. Maybe give this a blue. Come here and give it this color or that color, like this. Okay, and let me just try increasing our stroke size. Yeah, maybe we should have a stroke size of 3 for everyone. Okay, let's give it a stroke size of 3. Okay. Okay, now we will just create more color variations. We can choose this one, this preset, this color preset. And I kind of don't like the blue here. So there is no specific rule to this. You just have to create it or select the colors based on what you feel is nice. Okay. I don't want to spend too much time on this, so I'm going to just try to do things very quickly. Again, I'm going to leave this guy like this. So while selecting the 3 of them, we can now group. Oh, sorry, we can now group them instead of we can now group them. And when we group them, we can see that when we now go to object and then pattern and make, we are now able to make a pattern from the arrangements of shapes, right? And we can see this one in here that the new pattern has been added to the swatch panel. Okay, so it's telling us that the new pattern we are about to create has been added to the swatch panel. Any changes made while in pattern edit mode will be applied to the swatch upon exit. Okay, so we can hit OK, and immediately we see that we now have our pattern. Okay, we can select our 3 shapes and kind of adjust them like this, and the whole pattern just gets adjusted, right? Yeah, perfect. We then have our pattern options here. We then have our pattern options. We can choose the name of the pattern. You can see flowers. Okay, and then we can choose the tiling type. We have the grid, we have the brick by row, we have the brick by column, we have the hexa by column, we have the hex by row. Okay, So they do what their name imply, hexa. It kind of arrange them in the kind of hexagonal way. And we have the width here. We can increase or reduce, and we can see that the spacing between them just it keeps getting adjusted with an increase or reduction in the values. I want to keep this at 135 by 135. Okay. Well, let's say 120 by 120. Okay, yeah, this will do. And now we have other options here. We can actually select how we want them to overlap. That if they overlap, okay, that if shapes here overlap, but fortunately or unfortunately for us, they don't overlap, so we won't see these options do anything. Okay, but they're actually for overlapping shapes. And funny enough, we can just make them overlap. Okay, so we can see how the options work. So as you can see, the changes are being updated, and based on what you select, we have an overlapping change here, but we don't want any overlap, right? So 120 by 120. Good. And then we have the copies. Okay, we have 1 by 1, which is the original. We have 3 by 3. We have 5 by 5. We have 7 by 7. Okay, I'm just going to choose a grid arrangement, and maybe make this okay, maybe 100 instead of 109 by 100. Okay, then we can keep choosing the copies we want, and when we are okay with our settings, we can just click X. Okay, and then here we now have an option whether to cancel the project or click done for it to be saved, and our pattern then disappears, right? Yeah. But we now have it in our swatches panel. Okay, so as you can see, this is now our pattern here. If I make this bigger, let's see if we can make it bigger. We then see that here is our pattern here. Okay, so we can create a shape, for example, and then come and select our pattern, and boom, we now have our pattern on our shape. Okay, this is basically how to create a pattern in Illustrator. Okay, now we can keep increasing our shape to have more patterns. Okay, and we will of course observe that as we resize our shape, our pattern does not resize. Okay, we just have the pattern maintaining the same size as the original, so it's not resizing. So in order to make the pattern resize, what you need to do is to come to the transform panel here. Where is transform? Come to the transform panel and then come here, and then you see where we have transform object only. Now we have to make these transform patterns only, or transform both. So when we transform both, we can see that we are now transforming both the objects and the patterns. Okay, and then we see transform patterns only, we are now transforming funny enough, we can transform the both of them still. Okay, so that's how you do to enable you be able to resize the patterns. Okay, and then yeah, so we have our first pattern, and you just keep this at one side, maybe work on another pattern here. So I'm going to drag this guy here, and I'm going to come to my appearance and kind of make a little bit of adjustments to our pattern. So click OK, and what I want to do right now is I want to create these boxes like this. Sorry, like this. This. Let's have them like this also. Let's just group them. Control G, then have this guy centralized like this, and have them also centralized. So we have a perfect arrangement. Now I want to ungroup them, and then maybe we would want to do some adjustments to our stroke. We choose a very nice color. Come to our color guides too, and for our fill color, maybe we make it closer to blue, so we can get some cool shades of blue here. Maybe make it this or this or just this, and then for the stroke color, maybe we make it maybe we make it this. Okay, and then for our patterns, we can just increase the stroke size and then give each pattern a different stroke color. Okay. Then different fill color also, of course. Okay, maybe choose a different preset. Let's go with this guy. And for this one, make it like this. Okay, then I would like to make circles in the middle or ellipses in the middle like this. Okay, maybe come and choose my eyedropper tool, select this guy, select this guy, select this guy, and finally select this guy. Perfect. Now we can just resize our shape. Okay, resize our shape. Okay, we can resize our shape to this and just group our shape. And then select your shape and come to objects, pattern, and make. Okay, and now we have a new pattern. The width, the height, 80 by 80, increase the copies. Let's name it cool stuff. Okay, maybe choose a different kind of tiling type or a different kind of tiling instead, and then maybe this kind of tiling will do, and just close your panel and done. Now we now have a new shape, or rather a new pattern. So select your rectangle tool, drag it out like this. Maybe we should adjust our artboard to something like this. Okay, so we can have our shape like this. Now remove the stroke and then come here and select your new pattern. Select your new pattern, and boom, we have our new pattern. So we have two patterns, the first and the second. Now I'm going to just adjust our artboard to a square. Okay, we can have the dimensions here, I think. I'm just going to do this manually. Okay, I should then just work on my scaling options, right? Yeah, Good. So I can have a copy of the artboard here and have our second shape or our second pattern instead. Perfect. And yeah, guys, with this, we've come to the end of our lecture on patterns and repeat. Yeah, so just go ahead and try creating new patterns, new interesting patterns, and I would love to see what you can come up with. With this, we've come to the end of this lecture and see you in the next one. Bye-bye.